Well, some of you may be aware, some of you may not be aware of the decision that has just been taken at Dens Park this afternoon. Don Robertson, who is the match official for the game, has undertaken a second pitch inspection at 3:30 in light of all the rain that has fallen in Dundee this afternoon, and the game has been postponed. That's right, the game is off. It will not take place this afternoon or this evening. This is what is on the, obviously this is what has been reported now across a number of media sources and across X, that the game has been postponed. That the pitch is now in an unfit state this afternoon, after it was in a fit state this morning. It is just an absolute joke, an absolute, complete and utter joke. I mean, it's ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous that in this day and age that we are looking at, and I know that Scotland has adverse weather. I get that. Understand that Scotland has some particularly bad weather. But the fact is that there is one party and one party alone to blame for this game not being able to go ahead. This is the fifth game now that Dundee have had postponed at Dens Park, the fifth match this season that has been unable to go ahead due to the state of their pitch. Watching the pictures from Sky, Don Robertson throwing the ball up in the air, the ball was no longer bouncing, no longer running along the surface, and was holding up and was obviously dropping straight dead on the pitch. It is just beyond ridiculous that Dundee's pitch is allowed to get into this state, that 5 times this season they have had to postpone the game. You know, the SFA rules, the SPFL rules, the SPL rules are very clear about what constitutes a pitch that is fit and for Premiership football. This is a top flight European league, and Dundee are helping to make Scotland look ridiculous because of the state of their pitch. You know, I can't understand how you've got a situation where a few hundred yards up the road at Tannadice you have a pitch that is perfectly playable, yet a few hundred yards down the road you have a pitch that is unplayable. You know, it is just, it beggars belief. It genuinely does. Now, I understand that a lot of this is the fact that Dundee have invested no money in their pitch, no money in their stadium, because they are intending to move stadiums. They don't want to spend money. But by that same token, you have a duty of care as part of the SPL to have a field and a stadium that is in a playable condition. This is not in a playable condition. Therefore, you know, Dundee are in breach of the rules. They are in breach of what is expected of an SPL club. You know, this, of course, causes a huge problem and a huge issue. Now, the final weekend of pre-split fixtures was supposed to be this weekend, with Rangers Ross County on Sunday being one of those final fixtures. And after that date, obviously, the split fixtures were then meant to be announced. However, now that appears to not be possible. How and when this game will be rearranged for, God only knows. Now, it seems that, you know, the suggestion is that the game will be rearranged for Wednesday next week, for Wednesday the 17th. However, as Philippe Clement has said himself, what guarantee is there that it's not going to rain again and the game will not have to be called off again? For me, there needs to be decisive action taken by the SFA and the SPFL, and Dundee need to have the book thrown at them. This is plainly unacceptable. In the 21st century, in a top European league, for you to be unable to host a fixture because it has rained is absolutely ludicrous. I mean, I don't think that those people who are making light of this, who are, you know, thinking this is just Rangers kicking off because it's Rangers, genuinely get how this makes the league look, how this makes football in Scotland look, that because it's rained, a game can't go ahead. What other top flight league around Europe would you have this same situation? You know, you go to Scandinavia, to Norway, to Sweden, to Finland, to Denmark, and you look at their countries where there is, you know, extremes of weather in terms of snow and hail and ice, and games in their top flight leagues do not get postponed for those things. Same in Switzerland. You know, south of the border down here, we have had absolutely awful weather for the last 2-3 weeks, where it has rained pretty much continually, you know, and not stopped. Yet no English Championship and no English Premier League games have been called off due to waterlogging of pitches. Why? Because pitches have sufficient drainage, under soil heating, etc., to be able to cope with rain. You know, Dundee clearly have not prepared their pitch and have not prepared their stadium to be suitable for a game, and it is just, it needs, something needs to be done. An example needs to be made. I mean, the first question I would ask is, why were Dundee allowed to be promoted when their stadium quite clearly was not fit for Premier League football, and their pitch was quite clearly not fit for Premier League football? You know, for me, and I know people are gonna, I know Celtic fans and other fans around Scotland will say, well, you would say that, wouldn't you, Rangers fan? But of course, yes, okay, maybe, but for me, the SFA, the SPFL need to take stern action and say, actually, Dundee, there will be no replay. Rangers win this game 3-0 by walkover, and you will also be docked points for this being the 5th occasion. Now, if it was once, if this was just a one-off or even a second time, you could say, okay, it's just unlucky. But because it's 5 times now, this is 5 times, guys, this game has been, they've had games called off this season due to the state of their pitches. 5, not once, not twice, 5. And it's beyond the joke now. It is utterly beyond a joke now. The game has had to be called off due to rain. Look, nothing against Don Robertson. He's made the right decision, looking at the safety of the players. Sanctions need to be taken against Dundee. They need the book thrown at them for this absolute joke. They are behaving, and they are acting like a pub team down there. A pub team. That is it. Simple as. You know, it is utterly ridiculous, and action needs to be taken against them. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. But look, it is time the SFA and the SPFL, I don't expect they will, because they just are not fit for purpose. They are not brave enough to take this decision, but they need to take some strong decision against Dundee. They really genuinely do. Well, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. Please smash the like on the way out, and remember, always, we are the people.